we look at it and we say, we don't need to do any of that because we're not trying to win the mass consumer market. We're not trying to get into a rat race. And because our values around safety, we don't want to do that stuff anyway. And so we've chosen a business model that aligns very well with our values. But the applications that I really look forward to are the ones that relate to things like biomedicine. If many of the greatest diseases which bedevil humanity, AI was able to solve them.
今 AI 業界で最も注目を集める企業アンソロピック SARS の死を誘発し AI の軍事利用をめぐっては国防総省を提訴する事態となったアンソロピックの AI クロードのダウンロードがオープン AI のチャット GPT を抜くなど名実ともに急成長している
which we believe is the fastest growth for a software company in the history of technology. I don't think there are any comparable examples of the growth happening so fast. We want to enhance the enterprise value of companies in Japan, and as a side effect, that will also enhance our enterprise value.
テレビ東京が去年10月にアンソロピックのトップダリオ・アモデイ CEO に単独インタビューを実施。アンソロピックが描く AI の未来と知られざる野望に迫る。
Yes, so going back to the founding of Anthropic, we were among the first, myself and my co-founders at Anthropic, to document the scaling of the technology and how powerful it would become. And the idea behind how we started the company is we looked at how quickly the technology was advancing and said, look, we really need to do this right. It's going to be very powerful. There's an enormous opportunity for the company and for people who work with the company and for society overall, but we really need to do it right. And so safety means a number of things to us. At the level of the model, it means making sure that the behavior of the AI models is more predictable, is more reliable. So we've developed a number of methods ranging from constitutional AI, which is a technique we use to train AI from a specific set of principles, to something called mechanistic interpretability, which is looking inside the model as you would look inside a brain with an MRI to understand why it does the way it does and to trace its thoughts step by step. And so by using these methods, we're able to make the models more predictable, more reliable, and more likely to be correct. And what we found is that the businesses of the world, the enterprises of the world, value that a lot. It's not as important in the consumer world, but when you want to serve the businesses of the world, if you're having a debate about drug development, you need to make sure you're precise. You need to make sure you're getting it right. If you're having a debate about financial analysis of a company, you need to get it right. If you're having a debate about how to manufacture a new material, you need to get it right. If you're having a debate about how to best do e-commerce, you have to get it right. And so enterprises really trust that we can give them a technology that is more reliable, that suits their needs, that isn't designed for entertainment, but is designed for them to create serious economic value. Yes. So some of those, are covered in the fact that we have a business focus rather than a consumer focus. So even our consumer product, it's more focused on providing people information, helping them to get things done. Things that are more oriented towards productivity and concrete efforts. But people have also found, because we have a lot of AI talent and we really focus on crafting this in a good way. People have also found that Claude is often more understanding. It's more empathetic. It's a more thoughtful model. People say that it sounds less robotic than some of the competitors. And so there's a segment of consumers who have found that Claude is a model that really appeals to us, and we see that expanding over time. Yes. So I would say what it has most to do with is that we're choosing to work with businesses rather than consumers. So some types of multimodality are important to businesses. So for example, analyzing images or analyzing videos can be very important, for example, in customer service or security or other applications. But generating images or videos, that's more of an entertainment thing. And so we don't do that because it's more consumer focused. But again, our enterprise focus in many cases comes from our value on safety, right? We're choosing the enterprise focus because it's compatible with our values on safety, not the other way around. And so when we look at these things that people do to compete in the consumer space, right? Making these short form videos that people get addicted to, the models becoming super engaging, people having romantic relationships with models. We look at it and we say, we don't need to do any of that because we're not trying to win the mass consumer market. We're not trying to get into a rat race. And because our values of our values around safety, we don't want to do that stuff anyway. And so we've chosen a business model that aligns very well with our values. Yes. I mean, I think we generally think of ourselves as wanting to help people get things done, wanting to help people be thoughtful, wanting to help people be the best version of themselves, right? We have this brand campaign called Keep Thinking. And the idea is we don't want the AI models to dull your thought. We don't want the AI models to, do the thinking for you and keep you entertained with stupid things. We want the models to, to help your cognitive processes, to help you think. We believe is the fastest growth for a software company in the history of technology. I don't think there are any comparable examples of the growth happening so fast, and we've actually seen 10x growth per year for each of the previous 2 years before that as well. So the reason we think that's the case is, there's this great unmet need for the businesses of the world to use AI. When we go to businesses, including several that we visited in Japan over the last few days, we find that these businesses are very happy to see that there's a company that is totally oriented around serving them. That it's our first priority to serve them. We make products for them. We make models for them. It's really caught on by wildfire, and that's why I think we're growing so fast. And because we're growing so fast, that causes the value of the company to grow up. So it all goes down to the fundamentals. The value of the company goes up. It's a good honest way to make money.
アンソロピックは去年10月、アジア初となる日本オフィスを開設。高市総理大臣とも会談し、日本語対応の強化や日本企業への導入を推進していく方針を示している。
Before we had a single employee in Japan, we had roughly $150 million of revenue in Japan. We saw a lot of hunger among companies big and small in Japan to use our models. Some were already using our models without having ever even talked to us, right? They just use the public API. But we know that if we want to do the really big enterprise deployments, we have to have a long-term relationship with companies in Japan. We know that's how Japan works. And so we opened our office here. We have a few people. We're growing very fast. This is why I'm in Japan right now. I'm planning to come back often. And we really see the potential for that to grow by many times, to grow enormously. I was at a summit for builders, for startup entrepreneurs here yesterday, organized by Anthropic, and the excitement in the room was palpable. We could see so many different ideas for things people wanted to build. So many people who wanted to use our models to build something new and innovative and make something happen. So we can see that the energy is palpable, and we see this as a place not just where we can get a lot of revenue, but where we can actually work synergistically with the companies to enhance their value as well, right? Your question was, will Japan enhance our enterprise value? I think that's the wrong question. I think we want to enhance the enterprise value of companies in Japan, and as a side effect, that will also enhance our enterprise value. I think we're going to do both, but again, we have a business model that aligns those two. That is what we're aiming to do. Yes. Some examples are, Rakuten is using Claude, including using Claude Code. Panasonic is using Claude for design, also for software, and the Nomura Research Institute is using Claude as well. So those are some examples of big companies, and then beyond that, we see just a very wide variety of, again, individuals at companies, individual entrepreneurs who are using the Claude API to build some new innovative product, and are using Claude Code to help write the code to build it. Yes. I mean, I think it's what we've done already, except more so. So, I think we're going to continue to build out a presence in Japan, both on the go-to-market side to work with Japanese companies, large and small, on the kind of startup side to engage with startups and support startups, and also on the technical side to help make the models better in Japanese and at industries that are strong in Japan. Our current Tokyo office was just opened a month ago. We're recruiting for strong talent across the board in Japan, and I think we're going to try to deepen our relationships and build long-term partnerships with some of the biggest companies in Japan, as well as supporting the startup ecosystem. And so I think on our side that 150 million can become billions, and then at the same time I think we can add many billions in enterprise value to the Japanese companies as well. Yes. I think AI is one of these technologies that has different applications across the board. So, right now, I think, code is happening more than other areas, and I can envision a world where it's just much easier to build software. So,